Big shocker out of Hollywood and Washington tonight. Jimmy Kimmel, one of late night's biggest names, has just been yanked off the air. ABC says his show, Jimmy Kimmel Live, is being put on hold indefinitely. And this isn't just about TV ratings. It's a political storm brewing at the very top. The move comes right after Kimmel's fiery monologue about the tragic killing of conservative activist Charlie Kirk, and the fallout has been massive. Even President Donald Trump has jumped in, celebrating the news as, quote, "great news for America." So what exactly happened, and why is this turning into one of the most talked about clashes between politics and entertainment? Let's break it down. So here's what went down. Out of nowhere, ABC dropped a bombshell announcement. Jimmy Kimmel Live is being preempted indefinitely. No return date, no clear explanation. Just a short statement from the network saying the show won't be airing for now. And if that wasn't enough, the blow got even bigger when Nexstar, one of the largest owners of ABC-affiliated stations across the country, said they're refusing to broadcast the show for, quote, "the foreseeable future." Think about that for a second. Not just ABC hitting pause, but one of its biggest partners slamming the brakes too. When you see two major players pulling the plug this quickly, you know something serious went down. The question is, what exactly triggered this move? Why did Jimmy Kimmel's show suddenly become too hot for television? To answer that, we need to go back to his latest monologue, the one that lit the fuse. Just days after the tragic killing of conservative activist Charlie Kirk, Kimmel took aim at Republicans, accusing them of twisting the tragedy for political gain. He said, "We hit some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them, and doing everything they can to score political points from it." Then he zeroed in on President Trump, mocking his public remarks about Kirk's death. Kimmel compared Trump's mourning to, quote, "a 4-year-old mourning a goldfish."
This is not how an adult grieves the murder of someone he called a friend. This is how a 4-year-old mourns a goldfish.
Brutal words, and not surprisingly, they didn't sit well with Trump supporters. But Kimmel didn't stop there. When Vice President J.D. Vance suggested the political left was to blame for the shooting, Kimmel fired back on air, calling his comments complete bullshit. He even reminded viewers of past Justice Department data, showing far-right groups as the leading source of extremist violence in the U.S. So between mocking the president, slamming the vice president, and going straight at Republicans over Kirk's death, this wasn't just another late-night comedy routine. It was the monologue that blew up into a full-blown national controversy. To understand why Kimmel's comments hit such a nerve,
I didn't know what they meant. I said, he was dead. Charlie Kirk was shot.
And then we installed the most beautiful chandelier. Sconces you wouldn't believe.
we need to step back to the tragedy itself. Charlie Kirk wasn't just any public figure. He was the founder of Turning Point USA, a conservative powerhouse group, and one of President Trump's closest political allies. Last week, during a university event in Utah, a 22-year-old man named Tyler Robinson opened fire. Kirk was fatally shot on stage. Robinson has since been charged with aggravated murder, and prosecutors are pushing for the death penalty. The political fallout was immediate. Vice President J.D. Vance pointed the finger at the left, suggesting their rhetoric played a role in the killing. That claim set up the fiery clash with Jimmy Kimmel, who dismissed it outright during his monologue. So, this wasn't just about a late-night joke. It was about a murder, a movement, and a very public blame game. And of course, President Trump wasted no time weighing in. On Truth Social, he praised ABC's decision, calling it, quote, "great news for America." In his words, the ratings-challenged Jimmy Kimmel show had finally been canceled, something he said should have happened long ago. Trump didn't hold back on the insults either. He slammed Kimmel as having zero talent and claimed his ratings were worse than Stephen Colbert's. Then he went even further, dragging in Jimmy Fallon and Seth Meyers, calling them, quote, "losers with poor ratings," and urging NBC to cancel their shows too. So for Trump, this wasn't just about Jimmy Kimmel. He framed it as part of a bigger cultural victory, a pushback against late-night comedians who've been some of his loudest critics. Nexstar, which owns a massive chunk of ABC-affiliated stations across the country, doubled down on the decision to pull the plug. Andrew Alford, the president of Nexstar's broadcasting division, issued a statement calling Kimmel's remarks about Charlie Kirk's death offensive and insensitive. He said that continuing to give Kimmel a platform right now just isn't in the public interest, and that the network needed to let, quote, cooler heads prevail before bringing the show back. But here's the bigger picture. Decisions like this don't happen in a vacuum. Networks and broadcasters are under heavy political pressure, and late-night comedy, which used to be all about celebrity jokes and sketches, has become a major battleground for partisan fights. Kimmel's monologue didn't just spark backlash. It put ABC and its partners right in the middle of that firestorm. Now, it's important to see this in context. Jimmy Kimmel has never shied away from taking shots at Donald Trump. For years, his monologues have been some of the sharpest late-night critiques of Trump's policies and personality, and he's not the only one who's faced consequences. Stephen Colbert's show was canceled just weeks ago, and many believe it was tied directly to his relentless criticism of the president. Meanwhile, Trump has been openly pressuring broadcasters, even calling on the FCC to revoke licenses from stations that air what he calls objectionable content. So Kimmel's removal isn't just about one controversial monologue. It's part of a much bigger battle between comedy, free speech, and political power in Trump's America. The late-night stage has become another front line in the culture wars. So here's where things stand. Jimmy Kimmel's show pulled off the air, Trump cheering it on as a victory, and broadcasters like ABC and Nexstar caught in the crossfire. But it raises a much bigger question. Is this really about offensive remarks, or are we watching dissenting voices get silenced under political pressure? What do you think? Was ABC right to shut Kimmel down, or is this censorship in disguise? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because this debate is just heating up. And if you want more breaking celebrity news and entertainment drama, make sure to like this video, hit subscribe, and join us here at Papaya Room, where we break down the stories everyone's talking about.